Great day to you, great day, and welcome to your webinar, The Role of a Leader. My name is Glenn Daniels, and I welcome you to your webinar. By the way, this webinar comes from our week-long class called Essential Skills and Techniques for Leaders. But we want to focus today on the roles of leaders, because here's what we know, that if you can get your leadership team to take home these roles and to live these roles, that you're going to reduce your turnover. There's just no two ways about it. The roles of a leader, when you live those roles, turnover will start to drop. So once again, my name is Glenn Daniels. I'm the COO of Touchstone Publishers, and welcome to your... So what we're going to do in this quick webinar is just give you some definitions and maybe a couple stories about what each one of these roles are. If we were actually in the classroom, our next step after that would be to sit down and create some synergy. Sit down and start discussing each one of these. Make sure that we all have a great understanding of them and understanding the principles. Then our next step would be to actually execute on these principles. To take the number one role, for example, and say, this is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to go do this. We'll take this step and do those steps. Because by the time we get through with this, I want you to have a clear understanding of this, but I want you to have a clear feeling and knowledge and be able to run with it. That's what we do. Now, here's one thing you should be grateful for, that we're not in a classroom together, because we get to skip a lot of my rules. In fact, we get to skip about 95% of my rules. For example, you don't have to laugh at any of my jokes today. In fact, I won't tell any because I won't be able to hear you laugh, so why do that? You won't have to laugh at any of my jokes. You won't have to get up in front of the room and role play with me on some of these things, because you can't. Here's what I know about role playing, though. If you can find someone, if you can create some synergy with some people, find someone and do some role playing with them, you will be much better at these roles. Here's a suggestion, though. Role play with somebody who's not in your industry. Find somebody in a completely different industry. You could be in aviation, and they could be in hospitality. Role play with that person. Create some synergy. You'd be surprised at how. The one thing you do really need to do, though, that I can't hold you to because I can't see you, is create synergy and talk about these roles with some people, some other people. What is your number one role, by the way? What is your number one role as a leader? Your number one role as a leader is to be a developer of people. It is not to get your product out on time. It is not to create great customer service. That's your team's job. Your job is to develop them so they can do that better, so they can have better work-life balance. Your job is to develop people. Let me share with you this quote from Harvard Business Review. Too many business leaders today are out of touch with their employees they lead. Too many of you are out of touch with the employees you lead. You're not connected. You don't know them. And this leads to this, that 1 in 3 employees doesn't trust their employer. And that's, if you're lucky, it's only 1 in 3. And this is happening despite the fact that we're spending billions of dollars every year on leadership training. We're spending billions of dollars. Too many of you are out of touch with the employees, and you have to get past that. If your job is to develop people, that's what you have to get these folks in the shape of that. So if your number one job is to develop people, then you must start looking for ways to motivate people. You must start looking for ways to motivate people. You have to understand what is most important to them, so you can tie what's most important to them to their development. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. I'm going to suggest that you have meetings with your direct reports, and you do it actually on a regular basis. These one-on-one meetings will save you tons of headaches and problems, probably keep you out of HR trouble, keep you definitely out of EEOC if you're having regular meetings with your employees, with your direct reports. If we were in the classroom, we would stop right now, and you would be required to go back to your desk and schedule meetings with your employees. The thing is, you're going to schedule 15 minutes with each employee, send them out meeting invites for 15 minutes, but you're going to schedule it for 30 minutes. And this is the regular thing. You're going to decide the cadence. If you have 14 or more employees, you'll probably do one every week, one every other week. If you have 14 or less, you'll probably do one a week. Regular meetings, one-on-one meetings. The first one meeting though I'm going to have, and maybe 3 months down the road or 6 months down the road again, I'm going to have what I refer to as a get to know you meeting. And I'm going to ask the following set of questions. What is most important to you in this job? Sally, what's most important to you about this job? Bill, what's most important to you about this job? I want to hear those answers. Even if they say money. By the way, if they do say money, you know that's not it. Money is not most important to them. I'm going to say, well, tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about why money is so important. And as they discuss this and start sharing with you, and as you build trust with them, this will come out. But you'll start hearing all the different reasons that money is important to them. Maybe it's because they have a high regard for their kids' education. Maybe because if they don't pay the bills, them and their spouse will argue all the time, and they just want peace in the household. You're listening for the meaning behind the words, and you're going to paraphrase that back to your direct report so that you know what is most important to them about this job. You will better be able to tie the development to what's most important to them if you know it. And then I'm going to ask the next question. What is your expectation of me as your leader? I want to know, what do you expect from me as your leader? Because if it's something I can't deliver, I got to let you know, clean that up right away. But I want to know what it is. What's your expectation of me as a leader? Well, I expect you to treat everybody the same. Okay, I know that doesn't work, and I'm going to clean that up. If you're going to say to me, I expect you to treat everybody the same, that is not being fair. Okay, and I want to make sure that you, as my direct report, understand that is not being fair. What is fair is me giving everybody what they need. If I can give it to you and it's what you need, then that's what has to happen. It's not that Billy Joe got it off and you didn't get it off. Billy Joe might have needed that. Let's say Billy Joe, for example, is married and his wife is in her third trimester, which means every Monday they have a doctor's appointment, which means every Monday he's going to come in 15 to 25 minutes late. Well, Sally, on the other hand, is saying, well, no, that's not fair. He gets to come in late on Mondays. I want to come in late on Mondays too. Sally, do you need that? Because it's not fair if I don't give him something because I can't give it to you, or you don't need it. He needs it. I can give him what he needs. Do you need it? Can you provide the same documentation? Well, how come he gets it off? Sally, you know what? That's between me and Billy. I can't tell you that. Billy's probably already told her that, but I can't tell you that, so I'm not going to share that. Just like I'm not going to share what you say to me with anybody else. I'm not going to share that. So Sally says, well, no, I just want to know if I could do it. Sally, if you need it and you can document it the same way Billy documented his, I can make it happen. Okay, I'll do everything I can to make that happen. Okay? That's fairness, giving you what you need. Okay, but the truth of the matter is, Sally's just checking to see if she could do it. If you need it, Sally, let me know. But keep in mind, Billy is still staying 25 minutes later every Monday to make up for it, or skipping his first break and skipping half of his lunch break to make up for it. So she doesn't see all the facts, but nor is it your place for her to see all the facts. It's your place to understand what her expectation is of you. So you're asking that in that workshop. I'm sorry, not in that workshop, in that meeting. Okay, then, Sally, by the way, what are your goals for this quarter? What are your goals? Oh, I don't really have any goals. I just want to get to work on time. Okay, that's fine, but that's not good enough. Yeah, what are your goals? I mean, what do you really want to have happen? Well, I don't want to be stressed out at work. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. How are you feeling stressed out? Or how do you want to avoid feeling stressed out? I want Sally to discuss this with me. By the way, do you see why this should be a one-on-one meeting and not a group or team meeting? Some managers like to take the shortcut and have a team meeting. Let's just go around the table and discuss these. Bring them in one-on-one so you don't get caught up in group thinking. If you did this in a group meeting, the first one or two people, what they say, then everybody else in the room is going to say. Separate. The last question. So I understand what your expectations is of me. I understand what your goals are of me, Sally. I paraphrase them back to you. But here's my last question for you. How can I best support you? What can I do to best support you? I understand your expectations is for me to make sure that I'm available when you need help. Tell me a little bit more about how I can best support you. I want these four answers. Because now, if I have these four answers and as they fluctuate over time and change, now I have the ability to know what's going to help you be developed. If all this comes down to that all you really want to do is get to retirement, I know that, and I can develop you to help you get to retirement with ease and grace, which means you have to learn the new software. And I might just go to say, hey, Bill, you know what? Here's some new software we got to get to. I know you're used to doing it this other way. Let's just not hassle with this because this works this way to make it easier for you, easier for you, easier for you. Once you get a handle, be easier, easier, easier. You get to your retirement without any headaches. Your number one job is to be a developer of people. Look for ways to develop your people. Look for ways to motivate your people. The reason why this may not work as well is because we don't know our people. We just assume we know them. We just assume they will be developed. They'll be motivated the same way you are developed and motivated. That does not work. Have these one-on-one discussions. In fact, pause this webinar and get out a little piece of paper and write down a person's name and the day. Even if you can say that here, John's going to meet Tuesday morning, April's going to meet Tuesday morning, Maggie's going to meet Wednesday afternoon, Sarah's going to meet Thursday afternoon. Okay, just jot it down. Then when you get a chance to sit back down at your computer, schedule one-on-one meetings. Schedule a 15-minute meeting with a 30-minute window, just in case it goes long, because these could go long, right? So you be aware of that. Okay? But here's the key here. The key here is for you to ask. You have to ask people. Don't just assume. That's the key for this all to come together. You want to best develop your people? Ask. Your number two role, be a great communicator. Communications is your number two role. Now, we have a 7-step process that you go through to become a great communicator, but let's just talk about two of these right now. We'll start off backwards. You have to start to put other people at ease. In other words, at ease and with trust. If you're a great communicator, that means people like to talk to you and they trust you to talk to you. So you give them trust and let them trust you. Put the other person at ease. Is to stop talking. Great communicators, they stop talking. You need to stop talking so much. That makes a huge difference. Stop talking. But guess what? When you stop talking, you put other people at ease. Isn't that interesting? When you stop talking, your next role is to be a coach, to bring every piece, everything together. Okay? You got to look at all your parts and bring them all together. So, let's say you're in sports, if you're the head coach of that team, you have to bring your offense, your defense, and your special team play together. It's your job to coordinate that so it all flows together so you get the results at the end that you're looking for, a win. But maybe it's your role to be an inventory developer and developer. Maybe that's your team's job to handle the inventory, to develop product, and to deliver that product. Maybe that's what you have to oversee. Your role is to coach all that so it all comes together. Look at your leadership role. Look at your role and look at what parts you bring together. There's going to be more than 3, or it could be just 3. But whatever it is, your job is to bring them together. Okay? So they all flow on time with excellence every single time. Your goals, your actions, your results. Coach those together. Let those all flow together. That's your job. You're going to tie it all together and you're going to deliver these on time, with excellence, and profitable. That's what a coach does. He delivers it on time, with excellence, and profitable. Let me say it again. That's what you, as a coach, that's what she's going to do. Deliver those on time, with excellence, and profitable. That is your role. That's the role of a coach. A limiter of limitations. That's your next role. You limit the limitations that are out there. You see something, break that wall down. What's in the way of excellence on your team? If your team doing excellent, what's in the way? Think about that for a second. What's in the way? Maybe what's in the way is the way the furniture is arranged. Maybe what's in the way is the way office space is arranged. So maybe, for example, your team is over here in the far reaches of the building, and they have 30 minutes to get to lunch. And so what's in the way is that by the time they get to the lunchroom, 5 minutes of their lunch break is over. Okay, and then by the time they get back, 5 more minutes is over with. But by the time they heat up their food, they only got 15 minutes to eat their food. So they come back not fully energized and rested. That's in the way of them being great. That's in the way of them creating excellence. What can you do? Okay, short-term and long-term goals. What's in the way of your accomplishing your short-term and your long-term goals? By the way, do you know what your goals are? Do you know what your goals are? In other words, do you know what your KPIs are, your key performance indicators are? Do you know how your boss or how your stockholders or how your contributors gauge that you're doing a great job? What are the 3 or 4 key performance indicators that say, I'm getting this job done? I pulled my team together and I'm getting this job done. What is in the way of you reaching yours, and what is in the way of your team reaching the short-term and long-term goals you've set up for them, their KPIs? Your job is to break those down, get them out of the way. Your next, you got to cut the tape, cut the red tape. What policies or procedures are in the way of your team's success? What policies or procedures? Okay, maybe one of the policies is that you have to do all this paperwork, talk to a customer, do a bunch of paperwork, turn in the paperwork, and then you're ready for the next customer. Well, if you're doing your job, you're noticing what's taking place there. I am talking to a customer, it takes me about 5 minutes, 6 minutes to complete the paperwork, then I can go back to the customer. In the meantime, during our busy times, our customers are on hold way too long, and that's creating bad will, which leads to lower profits. You see that problem? So maybe you need to change that policy or work to change that policy some way. But by the way, with both of these, though, it requires documentation. And the documentation should point to the cost of these. That should point to the cost of these, the cost of turnover, the cost of the things that are in the way, the cost of red tape. Let me add another little caveat here, though. Sometimes you have to add a policy in or a procedure in. So a gentleman that I worked with in Denver who has a call center, and he needed to hire people for his call center, but he kind of said, okay, well, it doesn't really matter what they look like because they're behind closed doors. No customer's ever going to see them as long as they're professional on the phone. So we're not going to have a dress code. So I don't want to, because if we have a dress code, they're going to go to such and such a place that doesn't have a dress code. Okay, great. You say on the surface, you might say, okay, I understand that. No one's seeing them. So as long as they dress and come to work, it's fine. The first Friday I was consulting with the group, what I noticed on that Friday is everything you didn't want to notice. Some people were coming to work in their pajamas with house shoes on. Some people were coming to work in their party clothes, short dresses and suits and ties. Some people were coming to work dirty, raggedy jeans. And it was creating a very much unprofessional environment. What policy needed to be put in place there is they needed to have a dress code. Yes, painful. No one wanted that to happen, but it needed to happen. You needed to have a dress code. So that took place. It wasn't a very fun place. In fact, most of the employees wanted to lynch me. And I'm serious. They were mad. But that's just the way that goes. As soon as he got over that, though, he became more productive and more profitable. Okay? What red tape, what policies or procedures are in the way of your team's success? What is in the way? What limits them from becoming successful? Let's go back to that limits just for a second. When you have walls up between different departments. You're limiting your team's success. Maybe you take a look at this. For example, we have our customer service group. They're over in this corner of the room. Over in the other corner of the room, we have our IT team. Okay. And then we have our technical support team, because the IT and technical support there may be different, but we have them. Then we have our marketing people. Okay. We have 4 different groups. They're all spread out of the room. And they have these walls built up between the groups. I'm in IT. I don't have time to talk to customers. I don't have to, no, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to listen to what you're going through to make it better. Well, I'm in technical support. Don't give me any customers that you can't solve the problem for. There's got to be something really hard. There's walls being built there. Why not take and break those walls down, break the walls down between your departments, and maybe seat them all together? Set a customer service person with a IT person, with a development person, with a marketing team, all in one area. Break those walls down. Break the limits down for success. Cut the red and create speed. You have to start looking for get your team to do the job faster. What is in the way? What red tapes? And also, what can you do to get their team to do the job faster? Is it some additional training? Is it a different part of the software maybe they're missing? You know, when I was learning Excel, I was happy with just being able to do everything and just figuring out the sheet. And once I figured out how to do a chart, I was great. And I said I didn't want to learn anything else. But as soon as I learned how to do pivot tables and HLOOKUPs, oh, things went faster. As soon as I learned how to do macros, things went faster. What can you do for your team to help them do things faster? But I will tell you a key to all this, to all 3 of these last ones. You know what the key is? Go ask your team. Ask your team, hey, what's in the way? What red tape is really kind of we need to get rid of? How can we do the job faster? Ask your team. Yes, you know what the long-term goal is. You're aware of that. And the people who are doing the job, because they're doing the job, they have a different view, and they probably have some great ideals that you need to hear and implement. So ask your team if you want to get something being better. That's the bottom line. Being better as a leader, knowing your roles, living your roles, makes a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous be better. Look for ways to help your team do the job. Look for ways. Look for ways to help them create excellence. That's your roles. That's what you should be after. So that's our webinar for the day. Your homework, should you decide to accept it. Go find 2 to 3 people. Create some synergy. Try to do it outside of your industry. Maybe when you're out tonight or having coffee or at the ball game, ask a couple people, say, I went to this webinar and they talked about this idea of developing people. How do you develop people in your team? Well, this is what he suggested. That's what they suggested. How would I do that? Create some synergy with people. Create some partnerships with people. That's what I'm asking you to do. Create some synergy, create some partnerships. Okay? And then write a game plan. And then let's put that game plan to work. Okay? I'm going to ask you to sit down and really think about how you're going to put someone at ease when they walk into your office. How do you put them at ease? I'm actually sit down and really think for a couple minutes on how you can stop talking so much. Okay? Developing your people, communicating, my coaching. What are my key performance indicators? And how do I bring them all together to create excellence? Each one of these steps we need to kind of take a look at. What's limiting my team from being great? What maybe out of the box thinking can I do to take the limits off of them? Or what policies or procedures in the way? How much documentation do I need for both of these? How much documentation do I need? How can I get everybody to do the job faster? With less stress, let me add that in. How can I get them to do the job faster? I'm going to go ask, that's for sure. That's the answer to all 3 of those. Ask your team. Okay? I want them to be better all in all. And that's what I'm trying to get to. It's better all in all. I want them to enjoy working here. I want them to feel part of the team. I want them to know that we're developing them because that's my number one job. My number one job is not to fire people. My number one job is to develop people. Here's a small caveat though. Sometimes you're developing people to help them understand that this job is not the job for them, that they need to go pursue their passion someplace else. Most of the time, though, you're developing people so they can have a better work-life balance and be more productive on the job. That's 95% of the time. You're developing people to be better on the job, to have a better work-life balance. Real, let's be real. If someone's having a real bad personal life, that's coming into the building. We might say, well, no, leave your personal life at home. It's not realistic. They're going to bring it in. It is not your business, though, what's going on in their personal life. That's not your place. Your place is to get work-life balance, and your place is to do the work. Handle the work. Get them better at the job. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us today, or let me chat with you today about the roles of a leader. Hope you enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed just talking in the microphone. No one to talk to here, but just the microphone. But you have a great, great day, and thank you.